of earth, I come in peace. Do not be frightened of me, because I'm different from you. See, earthlings, I offer my mandibles in friendship. Grasp them in the same spirit. You have nothing to fear. I have no weapon. I have circled your planet in my great silver spacecraft. I believe you earthlings have a phrase for it. Unidentified flying object.
UFO.
Oh, well, if that's how you feel, I won't.
And not before time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Round the Horne.
Hello and welcome to the show. First, the part of the programme you've all been looking forward to.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne with Kenneth...
Oh, Smith.
Well, it's the part I always look forward to.
Sit down. I was referring to the answers to last week's quiz. Now, you'll remember we asked listeners to complete the proverb. Now, the first proverb was, it's a long road that has no. Well, the correct answer was turning, and I received an alternative answer from Mr. J.D. of Hove, and if his road is really as long as he says it is, and it hasn't got one, I can only suggest he petitions his local council. The final proverb was look before you. And again, Mr. J.D. of Hove didn't get it quite right. Leap was the solution we wanted. Still, Mr. J.D., your advice was very good, but in your example, I should check the wind as well. Forward, Smith.
Sir.
Right.
We continue our Movie Go Wrong series with another film adaptation. If you remember last week, we did a searing expose of circus life. Yes, we lifted the lid off Coco. This week, Hornographic Productions proudly, indeed flagrantly, present The Celluloid Jungle. Hollywood, what human dramas have not been set in this pulsating heart of the film world?
Well, this one hasn't for a start. It's set in Sidcup.
Oh.
My name is Liu King. I'm an agent. Drop into my office at any time and you're sure to see some of the biggest stars. There's a hole in the ceiling. I was sitting there one day when a voluptuous girl in a low-cut dress came in. She leaned over my desk.
Are you Liu King?
Well, I haven't got much choice, really.
I'm Blodwyn Blubber. I come from Wales.
Oh, dear, blubber from Wales. The writers will stoop to anything, won't they? What can I do for you, my dear?
Oh, I want to be a film star, and you can make me. You can make me.
Well, you've got the right attitude, I'll say that. I could see this girl had something. I swiveled in my chair. I often do when I'm excited. Tell me a little about yourself, young woman.
Well, I come from a big family, Mr. King. I had 17 brothers. Father went down the mine.
Not very often, by the sound of it.
He'd come home so covered in coal dust that Mother used to burn the bath water. Oh, 'twere a hard life. One girl among 17 brothers. I began to think there was something missing.
That's understandable, too. I was touched. Well, I must have been. I gave her a contract. Now, come, my dear, I'll take you to Super Colossal Mammoth Gigantic Productions Limited. Their office is just across the road over the cat's meat shop.
I am Cecil B. de Tribehammer, head of the studios. I am a modest, likable egomaniac.
I am the famous film director, Federico Fellini. Yes, I am so talented that I cannot conceal it. After all, talent will out.
All we need is the right actress.
Mr. Tripehammer, I think I got the biggest thing in show business. This young lady, Blodwin Blubber.
Hello, Mr. Tripehammer. Oh, please give me a part. Any part you like. I'll show you what I can do.
Okay, babe, I'll give you a chance.
Aye, Federico fell in it. We'll personally mould her for stardom. I've moulded many stars. I'm the mouldiest director in the business. But first, we must get rid of that New Zealand accent.
New Zealand? It's Welsh.
You could have fooled me, don't you?
The long process of making Blodwin a star began. First, a session under the sun ray lamp to get that glamorous tan. Then, elocution lessons.
Oh, now, brown cow.
Very well, thank you.
No. I want you to repeat it after me, my dear. And you must keep your vowels open.
I'll do my best. Oh, no, brown cow.
Pear shapes, my dear. Let's see those pear shapes. Yes. Note where I'm resting my hand. I want to hear your voice coming from there.
You must be joking. Still, I'll try. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
She's got it! By George, she's got it! And if she hasn't, she's going to get it any minute now.
Step by step, Blodwin learned her craft. Drama school.
Come along, young lady. I will instruct you in the method.
Thank you.
Now then. Imagine that you are a doorknob.
Yes, I am a doorknob. I am a doorknob. Oh, you did give me a turn.
Excellent.
Blodwin learned a lot at drama school. Soon she was ready for her first film part. I drove her to the studios.
For the benefit of my adoring public, I should point out that I, Douglas Smith, am playing the studios. I sprawl across several acres, and each of my entrances is guarded by uniformed men. I am impregnable.
Well, you don't look it.
Oh, it's very kind.
Once inside the vast, rambling Douglas Smith, I took Blodwin to the soundstage.
Oh, Blodwin, you're here. Now, don't be nervous. You should photograph well. You have great things in front of you. Right, lights, cameras, roll them.
What, here in front of everybody?
Oh, no. Let me explain the setup. You see here a sleazy hotel room, a rumpled bed, and this swarthy man lies there smoking. You enter, your upper lip bedewed.
Yes.
We know what you're after. You cross to the bed, pull off the sheets.
Yes.
Then you wash them in Glimmo. We're making a soap powder commercial.
Well, it was a start. More parts came her way. In The Curse of the Mummy, she played the midwife. In the remake of Lassie Come Home, she played the lead. All small parts, but one day, Cecil B. de Tripehammer called me in a panic.
Now, look here, in a
He
panic.
never could remember my name.
I want this girl of yours to take over the starring role in my new movie. The actress who was to play it has fractured her leg.
This was the break Blodwin had been waiting for. The following day, work started on her big picture. Now, tell me, Federico, what's this film all about?
It's a modern film all about dangling London.
You mean swinging London?
You make your films, I'll make mine.
During the months that followed, I hardly ever saw Blodwin. She spent a lot of time on the studio floor. But eventually came the big day, the world premiere of her film. We were planning to hold it in Leicester Square, but fortunately we managed to get a cinema. The audience rose to Blodwin's performance. It was the only way they could throw things.
General!
Take it off!
It's disgraceful! Open and disgusting!
Blodwin was heartbroken.
Oh, Mr. King! Sob, sob, gulp. I've let them down. Oh, Mr. King, after this, nobody will want me. Tell me, are you prepared to go on handling me?
Of course I am, yeah. The thing to do now is to get you back in front of that audience before you lose your nerve. Now, look, here, put this on. Get out there and make a personal appearance. You can do it.
Right, Mr. King. Chalk icy as peanuts, something on a stick.
And she did very well at the job. So ends this week's production. Next week we'll be showing you U-Boat 59. That's for those of you who like films with subtitles. Now, it's not often that we ask the audience at Round the Horne to join in the chorus. But in Der Fledermaus there is one aria which is so catchy. So catchy that one feels almost compelled to let oneself go with the soloist. I refer, of course, to El Forza di Luce. Jim and I, as children, played together. Best of chums for many years were we. I, alas, had no luck, was a Jonah. Jim, my chum, was lucky as could be. Oh, lucky Jim. How I envy him. Oh, lucky Jim. How I envy him. Years passed by, still Jim and I were comrades. He and I both loved the same sweet maid. She loved Jim and married him one evening, which is odd. Yeah, should have been the morning. Jim was lucky, I unlucky stayed. Oh, lucky Jim, how I envy him. Oh, lucky Jim, how I envy him. Now, Max, I think a minor key, a very, very sad verse coming up. Years rolled on and death took Jim away. Boys, left his widow and she married me. Now we're married, oft I think of Jim. Boys, sleeping in the churchyard by the sea. All together now. Oh, how I envy him. Your last chance now. Oh, lucky Jim. How I envy him. Very good. I must say, Smith, I thought the audience were absolutely splendid, didn't you?
Well, there were one or two that weren't joining in.
Really?
Yes.
Ah, well, Festival Hall next week.
Yes.
And thank you, Alice, at the piano.
Thank you, Alice.
Good old Alice. And now, carrying on the ceaseless fight against literacy and good taste, we bring you the radio station to end them all, with any luck. Radio Balls Pond Road.
Since the station has been operating, we've had many interesting comments, and we'd like to give you a selection of listeners' reactions. Another listener writes,
Radio Balls Pond Road has changed my life completely. I used to be dull, listless and lackluster with dishpan hands, lank hair and telltale crow's feet all over. In short, a wallflower. Now I am the belle of the horsemeat shop, and my repartee is the talk of Canonbury. Yes, I'm a different person now since Radio Balls Pond Road come into my life. Signed, Fred Perkins.
Thank you, Fred, and if you take my advice, I'd stop taking the tablets. Now, Here's another letter from a listener.
The so-called impersonations of Simon D on your so-called show annoy me no end. They're not funny, neither are they pithy or to the point. They're just tasteless and puerile, and they're not even like me.
Signed,
Simon D.
Pressed.
Horse Road is wonderful.
When it comes to the reporting of world affairs, Radio Balswan Road does not lag behind its rivals. So come in, L. Dugard Fortinbras, our reporter in the field. Thank you. And here, live from Washington, is our foreign correspondent, Gerald Monkshabit, by Radio Link. And I must apologize in advance for the bad line.
Things are moving here in Washington. Earlier today, I had a quiet with Senator Halfbright, and later discussed the position with Dean Crust. He feels that there can be no move toward until has had with, which I'm sure will ease the situation. On the subject of mutual... reports are coming in from Asia that although Mao Zedong has recently in the Yangtze, many Chinese have a very small and some have none at all. By European standards, that is.
Well, thank you, Gerald, from Washington. And now we have with us our young visitor from the Antipodes, Miss Judy Cooleybar. Now, tell me, how are you finding it in London?
What are you getting at, Bluey?
Well, I'm not getting at anything.
You pommies are all weirdos. I mean, the way you dress. The sides of your hats have all fallen down. Yeah, sure, I know you pommies. You were the ones who invented that obscene public spectacle, cricket.
Cricket? Obscene?
I've read about it. Bowling a maiden over. A leg glance. Knocking a poor fella's bagels off. Not to mention a man in the gully. And we all know what that means. Oh, you're all the same over here. A girl ain't safe. I went into the cinema the other day. I had to change my seat 6 times.
You mean you were molested?
Indeed I was. Eventually.
And there she goes, her wobbleboard wobbling and her billabong poised for action. Now to the part of the show where people phone in with their problems and air their views on topics of the moment. Ah, there's the first call. Hello.
I wonder if you could oblige a lady.
Well, I'll put you on to Hugh Paddock. It's more his line of country.
Oh, no. It's about this book I'm writing. 1,001 Things a Girl Can Do with a Bloater. Mr. Horne, I can only think of 3.
Well, have you tried converting it into a table lamp?
Yes.
Entering it for the derby?
Yes.
Pressing it between the pages of Captain Spock's Guide to the Turf?
Yes, that's the 3 I thought of. Frankly, I can't think of anything else to do with my bloater.
Well, meaning no disrespect, as far as I'm concerned, you can take your bloater and...
Oh, 4. Thank you. You've been most helpful.
It's my pleasure.
5.
Hello? Ah, the ubiquitous grunt-futtock. Now, what's your problem?
I have written to the TV programme, going for a song repeatedly, but they have spurned up their noses at my letters.
Oh, you mean the show all about antiques? Now,
Yes,
well,
on the television.
That's right. What
Right.
did you write to them about?
Well, I have a curious old object which would baffle the experts.
I Are you boasting or complaining, Mr.
I want them to put a price on it. I feel this piece is of inestimable value, and I would feel a thrill of pride if they were to pass it round amongst themselves and express an opinion as to its worth.
Well, now, what is this object?
I'll describe it for you. It's two curiously wrought legs, a low front. There's what appears to be a face on it, and the patina is of a mottled hue. It's been hanging about the house collecting dust for a good while now, and I'm curious to know what I could get for it.
Well, it sounds jolly interesting.
Yes.
I'll have a word with the Going for a Song people.
Oh.
I'm sure they'll get it on the programme.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Horne. Mother, get your coat on. You're on the telly.
Hello?
Mr. Horne?
Yes?
Excuse me if my voice sounds muffled, but I'm speaking to you from under the bedclothes. I have a problem I'd like to talk to you about.
Have you talked to your family doctor about it?
Well, he's under here with me. And he can't help. You see, my problem is I'm terribly shy. I can't. Well, that is, I can, but I don't like to. But that is, I do like to, only I can't. And when I do, it doesn't seem to work. And it's worse when I do it in public, because I can sense people sneering at me. Is there a school for it, or can I do it through the post?
Well, it depends on the size of your letterbox, really. But if you'll send me details, I'll see what I can do in a plain envelope.
Right.
Very painful to be strangled by the old school tie. Well, that's all the calls we've got time for. But if you've got a problem and feel that a word in the right place would help, well, let me know and I'll send you the word and the place to use it. And talking of personal problems, here is Rambling Sid Rumpo, who can be consulted in confidence. Rambling Sid.
Thank you very much. Oh, hello, me dearie ears. This week I'm going to sing you a song of the Irish Troubles, which generally occur every Saturday night after closing. That time when, full of nostalgia and draft stout, the expatriate Irish lurched nimbly forth from the hostelry and gather in small groups, wordling mournfully until the police arrived. And there's after this fashion, brightly but wheezily. If you ever nudge your artifacts in England and find yourself in far-off Camden Town, though the English girls may sneer at your shillelagh, they can't grass it like they do in County Down. But remembering the land from whence you sprung, lads, a country that will never let you down, keep your munging splods forever at the ready, and never nurk for less than half a crown. And that's time and a half on Sundays, of course. Keep your grunges green and keep your moolies burning. They'll come in useful even over here. But remember, though the streets are paved with trunnions, they'll deport you if you wordle on the pier. Yes, on the pier.
Ah, that was touching, wasn't it? It makes you want to go out and scrope Val Dunican with a knotted Eamon Andrews. Now, the other evening I was sitting quietly at home, leafing through the current edition of Who's Who in Chicken Sexing, when the phone rang. Apparently, I'd won a free dancing lesson, and the next morning I presented myself at the Boner Academy of Ballroom Dancing. Hello, anybody there?
Oh, hello, I'm Julian and this is my friend Sandy.
Hello, Mr. Horne. Lovely jolly oldie.
Thank you.
Jewel and I are practicing a new variation on our Paso double.
Well, I'll come back later if you like.
No, troll in. Won't keep you a minute.
We're just polishing up on our ensemble work.
Yes, for our formation.
Formation.
Yes, we do it simultaneously, you know.
Yes. Now, what are your particular needs, Mr. Horne?
We do it all here.
Well, what do you suggest?
Well, you have your black bottom or your military three-step.
Shouldn't there be two-step?
Well, no, we go one step beyond with the military. Yes, we troll the gamut of your terpsichore, from the rudiments of the Veleta right through your gentleman's excuse me.
Well, I think I better start at the beginning. I don't know much about dancing.
Well, we start you off with an easy one, the fox troll. Yes. Good for your eyeball. Yes, right, take up your gentleman's positions, that's right.
Haven't you any female partners?
Yes, well, there's Mrs. Bulstrode the Chub. It's her day off.
So you'll have to imagine Julia is a Dolly Pallone, all dragged up in yards of tulle. With tinsel in her raya and a beauty spot on her left cheek.
It's going to be difficult, you know, to imagine Jewel like that.
It might be difficult for you, but it'll be easy for Jewel, won't it?
Nothing easier.
Nothing easier.
It's a projection, you see,
That's
Mr.
what it
Horne.
is.
It's a projection you use, you see. I can project myself into any situation.
He can.
And do.
He's got a personal magnetism.
Yes.
Enables him to project himself right across the ballroom.
Yes.
I've seen him do it.
No.
I've seen him do it.
No, you're too kind.
Don't hide your light. Don't hide your light under the bushel. Come out with it. He denigrates himself.
I don't.
You do. You run yourself down. It's true, Mr. Horne. You see him in the spot waltz. He's a thing of beauty.
And a joy forever.
A joy forever.
Joy.
Keats, you
Yes.
see. Bird thou never wert.
No.
Say that again. Oh, that was from there. I wrote that for him. Ode to an Naomi. Oh, no, he moves. He moves like a bit of thistledown.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I do,
that
yes.
was
I've always been a natural mover.
well, he's got the legs for it. Show him, show him. His lallies that are a joy to behold. He's got all the natural equipment for a ballroom dancer.
Yes.
He could have been another Harry Smith Ampster.
Yes.
He could have been a solid rock.
I could.
Yes.
I'll give it up, though.
Give it up.
I'll give up the competition dance.
Tell him why. Go on, tell him
No,
why
I
you give it up.
don't- I don't
Tell him why.
like
Go
to.
on.
No.
Go on, listen here. He'll understand. He's an Naomi of the world. Purge yourself. Come out with it. Purge yourself.
All right. It all happened at the Houndstep All Comers Freestyle.
All comers freestyle.
Yeah. There I was, with my number on my back.
All the judges had his number.
I was Boner in the quick step and Fantabulosa in the tango. Nobody come near my dashing white sergeant.
You've been eating onions.
Yeah.
Go on.
All was going well, but then come my downfall. I slipped up on my Latin American variations.
How painful for you.
Yeah.
I just put that in to remind you I was still here.
Don't interrupt, Jewel, Mr. Horne.
What happened exactly?
Well, it was during the conga. I made a fatal error of judgment which was misunderstood by the Pallone in front.
Tell him for why!
No,
Tell him for why! Tell him, go on!
Well, you see, it turned out it wasn't the conga at all.
What was it? Tell him! Tell him! Tell him!
It was the queue for the ladies' powder room.
And they went off in a flurry of talcum powder. Cheerio, see you next week.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne, with Kenneth Williams, Hugh Paddick and Betty Marsden. On the musical side, you heard the Max Harris Group. The script was by Barry Took, Johnnie Mortimer and Brian Cooke and Donald Webster. The programme is produced by John Simmons.
Okay, Polofsky, we know you're in there. Come on out.
You're gonna have to come in and get me. Keep away. Keep away. I never had a break, I tell you. I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. We were so poor, I had to wear my sister's cast-offs. I was dragged up. I was dragged up in the slums. What have I ever got out of life? Reform school, prison, every man's hand turned against me.
This is your last chance, Polofsky.
Okay, I'm coming out.
I don't know why you couldn't wait your turn. I've only been in there 10 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Round the Horne.
Hello and welcome to the show. First, a motoring flash. On the Great North Road, a lorry loaded with strawberries has collided with a tanker full of cream. A police spokesman on the spot said, "Delicious." Now for your letters. A Mr. or Miss P.J. Gripe of Wallasey writes in to say that he or she has a problem. And in all honesty, I can't disagree. And Mr. Groin Whippet of Leith sends a postcard telling me he's had a piece of bacon sticking out of his ear for several years. He wants to know if it can be cured. Oh, I did enjoy that. And now, spreading straight from the fridge, but retaining 99% of household germs, it's Douglas Smith. Forward, Smith.
Sir, this week's film adaptation, direct from a waste paper basket at the British Board of Film Censors, Hornographic Productions proudly, not to say impertinently, present Around the World in 10 Minutes.
Eh?
It's an edited version, sir.
The setting London under Victoria. A peaceful place except when the trains run overhead. As our story opens, it's a bright sunny day. My name is Phineas Figg.
It was fog in the original version,
It's
sir.
a bright sunny day in ours, Smith. I live alone apart from my manservant whose name is Passepartout.
They call me that because I spend a lot of my time around the pictures. I'm a gentleman's gentleman. They're very slow, aren't they? Will you be dining in tonight, Mr. Figg? Shall I lay on your dinner?
Well, I'd rather you didn't. Well, I'd rather you didn't. It does tend to bruise the Brussels sprouts, doesn't it? Now I'm off to the club for a game of cards, Passepartout.
Right, then I'll call you a horse-drawn music link.
Good afternoon, Mr. Figg. Oh, let me take your hat, your cloak, your jacket, your waistcoat, your shirt, your trousers, your vest, your underpants, your flannelette kidney pad, your socks, your corn plaster, your spectacles.
Thank you, Albert.
Perhaps you better have your spectacles back.
I went straight to the gaming room and purchased 100 guineas worth of chips. Well, I hadn't had much breakfast.
Oh, Fig, there you are.
Oh, my old friend Alistair, Chit Witherington, Ponsonby, Fitzpasture, McMurdoch.
No, Jones, actually. Oh. I say, Fig, I just dropped a packet on the gaming table.
Oh, by Jove, how embarrassing for you.
Quite. Are you coming into the card hall?
I don't think so, Jones. I'm bored with card games. No, what I want is something new to gamble on.
New, eh? Tell you what, I'll bet you a shilling you can't run round this room in 5 seconds.
Wouldn't make much of a plot, will it?
Yeah, I see your point. Very well, then, 1,000 guineas you can't go round the world in 80 days.
Done. I hurried home to prepare for my historic journey. Passepartout, You and I are going to see distant places. We're going round the world.
You mean like Chichester?
Yes, and possibly even more exotic places than that.
Oh, round the world.
At this point, I, Douglas Smith, tackle my most testing role to date. I play the world. Yes, and I'll tell you this, it'll take Mr. Williams more than 80 days to get round me.
Pig.
That'll do. Now.
Well.
Now, Smith, you are sure you can manage this part? I mean, the world.
Oh, yes. I've done it before. Remember, I played it in the day the Earth caught fire.
Did you?
As they force-fed me with curry powder for 3 weeks.
Splendid, then. Let's go. A few days later found us drifting in a balloon high above the Alps. I knew it was the Alps because my manservant kept shouting,
Help! Help! Help!
I
Help!
flung him out of the basket in mistake for a sandbag.
Oh, that was a bit of luck. I caught my plastic dickie in the wickerwork.
Now, wait a minute. Look, I think we're beginning to lose height. Yes, quick, Passepartout. Put something over the side. No, not that. Something a bit heavier.
Too late! Too late! We're going to hit the ground!
Oh, I managed to jump clear at the last moment, but unfortunately I broke a leg. It belonged to Passepartout. He was underneath me.
Oh, my leg! Oh, my leg! Oh, it's broken. You'll have to put a cast on it.
A cast? Right, Smith, Paddock, Betty, get on his leg.
Don't bother, dear, I'll manage. I say, Mr. Fig, look, coming towards us, a Swiss milkmaid.
Yeah, I say, miss, my servant and I are going round the world. What's the quickest way from here?
Well, you veer right as far as Austria, left through Yugoslavia, take the first turning past Russia, and then you'd better ask again.
Thank you very much. We left her and were fortunate enough to get a lift to Istanbul.
6th floor, ladies' toiletries, electrical accessories, soft furnishings, reconditioned bicycles, and Istanbul.
And thanks for the lift.
It's a pleasure.
So this is Istanbul, city of glamour and mystery. Have you ever been here before, Passepartout?
Only when I played the Ottoman Empire. But now we must obtain transport to continue our journey. Let's try in here. Sultan's Harem and Second-Hand Car Hire Limited.
Hello, strangers. I am Fatima. I used to be Cinema. But they turned me into a bowling alley.
Yes. Quite, yes.
Here in this harem, we have almost forgotten what a man looks like. Can either of you two girls remind us?
Cheeky cats.
Actually, we're men.
Oh, then you must flee. We are guarded by a fearsome eunuch who misses nothing.
We must do.
Too late! Here he comes.
Mr. Horne, I positively refuse to play this part. After all, I have got my principles.
Yes, that does make it difficult for you. But you'll do it, Hugh. I know you will, because you're a trooper. And because the show must go on, and because I've got photographs of you, that stick of celery in the bolster.
I'll do it! Give me my cue line again.
Here he comes.
Well, we shot him. It was the kindest thing to do.
It was hardly worth putting the baggy trousers on.
You must flee. Take this hubble-bubble car and continue your journey round the world.
Across my trackless wastes they went. By car over parts of me that no man had ever seen before. By boat across the vast bosom of my oceans. By yak across my back. By punt across my front. But I care not. I spin lazily on my axis at an angle of 66 degrees.
As we all know your inclination.
Where are we now, Smith?
Well, you've just gone through my Khyber Pass travelling on a camel.
Oh, then we're in India.
Hello, Colonel Horne Spliced Indian Army. I'd like you to meet the Maharaja of Randibint.
Greetings, Greetings, I am the Maharaja.
I'm Phineas Figg, and this is my manservant, Passepartout.
We're travelling round the world, camping where we may.
Quick change of voice, Maharaja.
I will offer you transport to continue your journey. You may borrow my elephant, Fido. Here he comes now.
We leapt up and clung to the great flapping ears.
Let go my ears. It won't hurt you.
The incredible journey continued. Where would we arrive next?
You might well ask.
Ah, yes, the Kalahari Desert.
Water! Water!
Across the Indian Ocean.
Sponges!
Until finally England came into view. The familiar white cliff appeared.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Come on, Mr. Figg. We must get to London. It's only 2 hours before the 80 days are up. Only 80 days to London, puss. I'm sorry. We can go on horseback. There's a couple of hacks over there.
No, leave them alone. They're the writers looking for a tag. We'll walk. Oh, yes, Jones, here I am. Remember our wager, 1,000 guineas if I could go around the world in 80 days?
Of course I remember. Off you go, then.
We've been!
Oh. Well, I tell you what. You're a sporting man, Fig. Double or quits.
Done. Come on, Passepartout. This time we'll go the other way round. It's longer, but it's much prettier.
Oh, no!
Most of you will know that during the past 2 years, Round the Horne has entered for the Eurovision Song Contest. In 1966, we had high hopes for our song Sous les ponts de Blackfriars. But we came in 35th, which was disappointing, really, because there were only 34 entries. We did better next time, 16th it was, with a rather lovely protest number reminiscent of a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square and called A Redgrave Sang in Grosvenor Square. And it ought to have gone right up the charts, but they were blocked by police. Now, as the electricity board might say, for our current hope. It's a real tearjerker, so you may want to get your potpourri out. In a gilded hall of music sat a bright, expectant crowd, waiting for the coming singer, whom they'd hailed with praises loud. Years ago he'd been their idol, how his wit had made them roar. Now this benefit performance kept him from the workhouse door. What a storm of welcome greets him as he steps upon the stage. But alas, how sadly altered, what with illness and with age.
Cannot sing tonight.
He falters. As he speaks, he bows his head. But his speech was interrupted. Someone in the gallery said,
Sing us one of the old songs, George, one of the songs we know. Try, old man, do what you can, and we'll let the chorus go. We can't forget what we used to be in the days when life was new. Sing us a song, and if you go wrong, we'll help to pull you through. Thank you.
At this show of recognition, tears stole down the singer's cheek. Twice he started. Twice he faltered. Neither could he sing nor speak. Then, as though a ray of sunshine cast a halo round the place,
Nice.
stood a child before the footlights with a smiling angel face.
Daddy's been ill,
She murmured softly,
and if me you will allow, just to let him rest this evening, I will sing for Daddy now.
Then a strain of sweetest music wafted o'er the spacious hall.
Spacious hall.
'Twas a child's pathetic story, but it reached the hearts of all.
Reach where?
Hearts of all. As she bowed her thanks and left the stage, all eyes in haste were dried. Those who heard her must have blessed her. On that night, the gallery cried.
One on the old song strong, one on the song to be known. Try, old man, do what you can, and we'll let the chorus roll. We can't forget what we used to be in the days when life was new. Sing us a song, and if you go wrong, we'll help you
Now the Round the Horne Forum of the Air, where people from all walks of life phone up to discuss things that are troubling them. And here's the first call. Hello? Hello, Mr. Gunfuttock. Well, what can I do for you?
I'm getting out a circular.
Circular what?
I don't know, it's too dark in here to tell. But when I do get it out, I shall send it to you.
Yeah. Well, what am I supposed to do with it when I get it?
Pass it on to 2 friends, and they in turn pass it on to 4 friends, and so on. If you keep it up for 8 weeks, you'll be surprised at the results.
In what way, though?
At the end of the time, you will receive 3 and 6 in cash, an elk's tooth, 300 weight of suet, and 9,000 glossy art studies of General Bismarck doing the splits.
Could mortal man ask for more?
But I must admonish you, Mr. Horne, be warned. Do not break the chain. One man broke the chain.
And what happened?
He had to use his braces.
Thank you, Mr. Gunfuttock. One step beyond. Hello?
Mr. Horne?
Yes?
Is it just an old wives' tale that if you grind up elephants' hooves and add the powder to bat's fluff gathered at midnight by a celibate fishmonger's assistant and mix it with essence of toadsbane, it produces a deadly poison, which, when added to a cup of tea, is completely undetectable?
Yes, indeed, it's true. Such a mixture is deadly and undetectable.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Horne. Dad. Yes? Here's your nice cup of tea, dear.
Well, it's nice to feel one is able to help. Finally, we come inexorably to rambling Sid Rumpo.
Oh, hello, my dear ears.
And what are you going to burst forth with this week?
'Tis a paean of praise to my grandfather's grunge. They don't make 'em like that anymore. Oh, you can't get the drippets. But be that as it may, the song goes after this fashion, limply but cunningly. My grandfather's grunge was too large for the house, so he left it outside by the door. It was almost as big as the old fool himself, and it weighed half 100 weight more. He could whirl it around with a mighty booming sound, while my granny stood by in surprise. But he lost grip, dented the tip, and it caused his untimely demise. Now he's left it to me, and it's plain for to see I'm the pride and the joy of the Broads. Every Michaelmas day, it is there on display. And it's already won several awards. All the summer I munge as I whirl that mighty grunge, and my granny regards me with pride. But I stop short, never to grunge again, when it's cold outside.
Oh, thank you, Rambling Sid, and more part your wordler. And now it's time to meet our young visitor from the Antipodes, Miss Judy Cooleybar. Well, how are you getting on? Find yourself a position yet?
What are you getting at, Bluey?
Oh, nothing.
Yeah, well, just keep your hands on the desk, that's all. For all I know, you might be making obscene gestures under there.
Well, I wasn't. Honestly, I wasn't, I assure you.
Oh, you some sort of prude or something?
No. No, I was asking if you turned your hand to anything. Oh, I'll rephrase that. Have you got a job?
Certainly I've got a job. I'm one of them temporary women.
I don't think I'll say anything.
Oh, you know, Bluey, shorthand typing and that. Oh, it's been a real eye-opener, I can tell you. These office pommies, they're all sex mad. One fella tried to get me into the duplicating room. We all know what that means.
Well, they do expect a secretary to have an active role.
There you go again! Keep away from me! You're all the same, you Poms. Well, you're not going to catch me that way. I've got it up here.
Yes. Well, if you've got it up there, you should be pretty safe, I should think. Thank you, Miss Judy Cooleybar. Recently, I saw an advertisement which said, "Sound investment for shrewd business Omi. New songwriting team wants backer for new musical Apply Boner Song Publisherettes." So, the next day, I went round to their address in Chelsea, and the sign on the door said, "Private, enter without knocking," so I did. Hello, anybody there?
Oh, hello, I'm Julian, and this is my friend Sandy.
Oh, hello, Mr. Horne. Oh, darling, a Valkyrie.
Thank you.
Oh, what brings you trolling in here?
Well, I'd like to invest in your enterprise.
Horny bold. Oh. Yes, go on.
What sort?
Go on,
Oh,
Dom.
well, yes, all
Come
right.
right out with it, love.
What sort of thing are you planning?
Well, we're involved in diverse spectacles.
Yes, we've done several exciting things in the West End. And now we want to do something risky in Drury Lane.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Jewel and I are going to do something we've always wanted to do.
We're going to mount a musical.
Yeah.
A musical what?
Well, it's too early to tell, really. We've toyed with the Three Musketeers.
And mooted Midshipman Easy. Mooted him.
Yeah. We haven't definitely settled on the book yet.
Been thinking along the lines of that one with that Barbara Strident in it, you know.
You know Fanny Pallone?
That's right, Fanny Pallone. The story of what's her name, Bryce.
Fanny?
Well, maybe up to you, but we was enthralled.
That's it.
Went together, didn't we, Jewel?
Together,
Oh,
yes.
the magic evening. Magic.
My lallies turned to water when she sang that song.
They did. He's sensitive, Mr. Orne. He is sensitive.
what?
Touched
Yes.
He gets touched. He gets easily touched.
Touched.
And moved.
And moved.
Touched and moved. Every time he goes to the theatre, he willfully suspends his disbelief. Mr. Orne.
Then I get touched and moved.
Yes, I can quite believe it.
When he's in the theatre, he's in another world. Offered him a chocolate nanty. Nanty. He wouldn't even accept a walnut whip.
Yeah.
They're his favourites.
No, I have to face it. I am kinky for the walnut.
Yes, you are. I love. Go on, love.
Well,
Tell him.
it's the sweet tooth.
Sweet tooth. He's got it. Say that again.
But mark you, the goodies are as of naught when I'm in the theatre.
True.
I'm transported. That's what I'm transported to another place.
That's after you've been touched and moved.
After I've been touched.
Yes, that's why we thought we'd do our own musical.
Yes, we've already written a number of the songs.
Oh, you write your own songs?
Oh, yes, with a musical bent.
Say that.
Oh, yes. We are what you might call a modern-day Rodgers and Hartface.
Yeah. And we have been described as another low and learner.
Because we're both low and we're both learners.
Oh, dear.
Here, play him some of our numbers, Jewel.
Shall I?
Oh, Jewel's marvellous. He's a miracle of dexterity at the cottage upright.
Right. Here goes. Here's a little song Sand and I wrote. We had been to see My Fair Pallone and we thought, why not? Why not adapt another of Bernard Shaw's works?
Anyway, we thought we'd tackle Back to Methuselah, and here's the title song. Go on, Jewel. Does it lovely, he does.
Oh, Methuselah, oldest of all the Jews you are, so fantabulous, Methuselah. Then we thought of doing St. Joan.
Oh, yes, lovely.
Oh, St. Joan,
be mine,
be my Pallone, though you're just a farmer.
Lad, then you may love you too.
But I'll be true, so take off your arm.
Oh, Boner vocal.
Yeah.
Boner.
Lovely chance,
Yeah.
but it never worked out, did it?
Neither did Captain Brassbound's conversion.
No. Or Omi and Super Omi.
But then Jewel had this blinding flash.
Blinding. Come over me in
waves,
Mr.
didn't it?
Horne.
Yes.
Yes, it did. I thought, why not do a musical based on the life of the grand old Omi himself?
You mean Bernard Shaw?
Yes, and we're going to call it Bernie.
Bernie.
Bernie. It's all about Bernard Shaw's unrequited love for Patrick Campbell.
Of course, he's Lord Dungravy now.
I think you're a bit mixed up. Surely you mean Mrs. Patrick Campbell.
He's right. He don't tell no lies.
No.
I always wonder what they saw in each other.
Anyway,
true what you say, it's true.
Yes, the big song comes when Mrs. Pat Campbell sings to GBS of her love for him.
Song and dance number.
Sort of Buck and Wing Pinero.
Oh, he's at it again. Right, Jewel, after 4. Bernard Shaw, I love you more and more and more and more.
Although you like to eat your carrots raw,
It's a bore.
on me you put the markers.
Crazy about your knickerbockers.
Oh, darling Bernie, won't you please say yes, yes, yes? Don't like my spirits ebb.
To hell with Beatrice Webb. Be my darling GBS. Although you may look weird,
Just love that ginger beard.
you're my darling GBS.
I don't mean it, sir.
You're my darling GBS.
Well, in the end, I decided not to invest in their musical. I thought I'd put my money into something much safer, so I bought several hundred shares in a building company planning to erect a synagogue in Cairo. Cheerio. See you next week.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne, with Kenneth Williams, Hugh Paddick and Betty Marsden. The music was supplied by the Max Harris Group, the script was by Barry Tooke, Johnnie Mortimer and Brian Cook, and the programme was produced by John Simmons.
Now we are alone in this bedroom, my dear young lady. We shall see what we shall see. First I'll strip this off. So, there's something underneath, but I won't be thwarted. I strip that off too. And now I take a firm grip and strip this off.
Oh, what are you going to do now?
Oh, miss, I'll make good the plaster and give the entire wall a nice coat of enamel.
Meanwhile, for those of a nervous disposition, here is Round the Horne.
Hello and welcome to the show. Now, first an appeal. Will the owner of the car number BZH 974321685428731 please remove it, as the number plate is blocking Lower Regency. Thank you very much indeed, thank you. Now, last week we invited you to drop us a line and tell us about your hobbies. Well, perhaps the most popular hobby was do-it-yourself. But there were many others, some of which I can read to you, or one anyhow. A chap signing himself Green Fingers writes to say he's interested in roses, and during the warmer weather, rather partial to violets. And Mr. J.P. Goatwhistle enjoys philately, but I suppose none of us is immune to that. He says he has a sheet of Kaiser Wilhelms with an unusual watermark on it. Thank you. Obviously, some of you have got a sheet of similar type. And he's got a blue triangular cape with a perforation down one side.
Nice.
And finally, a Mr. B.K. writes to tell me he's recently joined the Midwinter Nude Bathing Association. He says he was impressed by the turnout of members at the first meeting, but after the second icy dip, it got considerably smaller. Well, hard luck. Hard luck, Mr. B.K. And now, the Round the Horne Forum of the Air, where people air their views and express their opinions on various aspects of the current scene. And here's the first caller now. Hello? Oh, hello, Mr. Gruntfutter.
I am a writer, but I cannot get any of my plays broadcast. They spurned up their noses at my adaptation of Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Oh, what did they say was wrong with the script?
Oh, the script was all right, but they couldn't do the sound effects I requested. All I wanted was the moo of an outraged buffalo. You wouldn't have thought that was beyond them, would you?
No, I wouldn't. You know, a lot of writers start out writing for one person. Have you tried that?
Oh, yes. For years I've written for Jean Metcalf, but Cliff Mitchell-Moore won't send her.
Well, better luck next time, Mr. Grandfather. Goodbye. Hello, Horne here.
I'm an old admirer of yours.
Oh, how old?
23.
You're beginning to interest me.
Yeah, I've always wanted to meet you, Mr. Horne. Could I drop round for your autograph, possibly? Any time?
Well, now, Just as a formality, could you give me a personal description?
Well, I have long red hair and blue eyes. 37, 23, 36. My friends say I'm very attractive.
Well, I don't usually do this, but if you'd like to pop round after 6, I didn't catch your name.
Tuckforth. Flying Officer Reginald Tuckforth.
And now... And now on the radio link, an on-the-spot report from Gerald Monkshabit in Washington. And I'm terribly sorry to say that, as usual, the line is rather poor again. Come in, Gerald Monkshabit.
Here in Washington, the election campaign is hotting up. According to political commentators, Republicans have huge... although they may not be as big as they were last year. The Democrats, on the other hand, have a growing... which appeals to the young voter. But of course their are split, and it can swing either way.
Here, all the way from the outback of Earl's Court Road, complete with an ice-cold jumbuck, Miss Judy Cooleybar.
Good on you, sport. I've notified the police where I am, so watch it.
Watch what? Oh, I'll rephrase that, all right. Now, what are you worried about?
Well, for all I know, that may be a two-way mirror with a hidden camera behind it, recording my every movement, so you can gloat over them later.
I wouldn't dream of such a thing.
Oh, you some sort of Puritan, then?
Now, look, let's get on with it. I mean, let's continue the interview, that is. I understand you've left your last job.
Ha! Too right, Bluey. That office was full of obscene calendars with no pictures on them.
Pardon?
They're the worst kind, because you know what the pictures would be if they had any.
Yes, I hadn't thought of it that way.
After that, I went to work at the information desk. The very first morning, a man asks me if I can show him the way.
Well, sounds to me as if he's inculpable.
No, he's in Guy's Hospital, actually.
And thank you, Judy Cooleybar. It's been a pleasure to have you, if you'll pardon the expression. And now, flying in the face of reason, Hugh Paddick will desecrate that grand old song, or should I say that hitherto grand old song, Poor Old Father. Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Paddick.
I've worked hard all my life, I have, and now I don't regret. I'm worth £100 a week, but that's not what I get. My salary is £4.10, which may seem quite a lot, but it don't go far with all the big expenses I've got. Quite first of all, the missus always wants a bit, always wants a bit, and she takes a bit. The boy'll want a bit, the girl'll want a bit, and then the fella that calls from the insurance wants a bit. The landlord wants a bit, the milkman wants a bit, and the old bookmaker rather. And they've all had a picking from me, £4.10. There's 9p left for poor old father. On Sundays for a treat sometimes, perhaps we have a fowl. And when the missus carves it well, it nearly makes me howl. If a fowl had two of everything, it wouldn't be so bad. So when we're having poultry, you can't wonder I feel sad. 'Cause first of all, the missus always wants a bit, always wants a bit, and she takes a bit. The boy'll want a bit, the girl'll want a bit, and then the fella that calls on the insurance wants a bit. The landlord wants a bit, the milkman wants a bit, and the old bookmaker rather. And when they've all had a picking, you can get
now looking 5 pounds thinner in his Celluloid wig. It's Douglas Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, how long is it since you were gripped in a cinema?
Well, it's some... Oh.
Well, we can guarantee that this week's film adaptation will bring you an emotional experience of unusual intensity, suffocating boredom. Pornographic Productions present a stirring science fiction drama. Journey to Uranus.
The year is 2068. I'm Captain Morgan of the Space Corps. I still recall the day it all started. My crew and I were aboard the spaceship Venus. My word, you should have seen us. Yes. We'd had breakfast and we were almost ready for launch. It was a tense moment in the control cabin.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Bingo!
Well done, miss. Road China City's yours. Now we can blast off.
Perched upon a pillar of fire, our mighty rocket gathered speed. The crushing acceleration built up. Eventually, we got to 3 Gs.
G!
Across the cabin, I could see our biologist, the lovely Miss Nimble. She was strapped to her couch, helpless under the fierce pressure. That was when I blacked out. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. When I came round, we were floating in the silent vastness of space. I looked around at my crew.
I am Hugo Uprightly, the navigator. I plot our course by the stars. At the moment, Jupiter is in opposition to Mars, Saturn is niggled with Pluto, Donald Duck is mad at Goofy, Neptune is in transit, Mercury is in the thermometer, and your lucky colour is puce.
I am Ethelfreda Nimble, biologist. I have come on this expedition to study the strange and exotic flora.
I am the strange and exotic flora. No, it's just a nickname, of course. My real name is Poltroon Loosegannet. I have a mate's certificate. I nicked it out of his pocket when he was in the simulator.
All right, crew, as you know, we're heading for the distant planet of Uranus. It's a 6-month journey, and with 4 of us in a 3-foot cabin, it's not going to be much fun.
I don't know.
10 days out from Earth, we passed the orbit of Mars. Ahead lay a line of asterisks.
Don't you mean asteroids?
You haven't read the script. 21 days out.
Sir, the main engine has started smoking.
Well, you'll have to climb outside and repair it, Loosegannet.
Very well, I'll attach this line to my waist, but it won't be easy doing it in my spacesuit.
Are you sure that line is quite safe?
Well, if it isn't, they can carry out the recording. Here I go.
While Loosegannet worked on the engine, the rest of us waited inside the great spaceship.
At this point, I'd like to mention that I, Douglas Smith, play the spaceship. Seemingly motionless, I hang in the velvet black depths between the planets. My long, cigar-shaped body is an object of awe. My mighty nose glistens in the starlight.
Captain, I found the trouble. A little hole no bigger than a man's hand. The ship's been hit by a meteorite, or possibly a man's hand.
This was serious. We were losing air. And I, for one... And I, for one, had little enough to start with. I sent Uprightly and Loosegannet outside, and together they patched it up.
Little fingers. All right then, chum.
We sped on, passing Halley's Comet, which was dragging out a long, thin tail, rather as we are. And eventually we went into orbit around the planet Uranus.
Oh, look down there! Look down there!
Who wants to look down there?
Hardly worth the trouble.
I fired the retro rockets, put the main booster on short time, and we went into land.
Well, we're down, sir. Look through the porthole. Great steaming jungle.
The first time man has gazed upon it.
I'm opening the hatch. I'm going out into the undergrowth.
The first time man has set foot upon it.
I'm going with him.
Yes, well, I think that's quite enough firsts for one day. Now we must search to see if there's intelligent life on this planet. What does the sign say?
The Kenneth Williams Fan Club.
Well, we mustn't give up hope. We'll go on searching.
Chic.
Have you tested the air yet?
Yes, sir. It's 1 part oxygen, 1 part nitrogen, and 98 parts carbon dioxide. Exactly the same as London.
Lovely. Lovely. That means I can take off my spacesuit.
He did so, and then we saw them, two great grey creatures coming towards us, waving. Coming towards us, waving. Half a dozen pseudopods and several real pods. They spoke.
Greetings, strange bipeds. From the distant planet of Kilroy was here.
Pardon?
Well, that's what's written on the side of your rocket.
How is it you speak English?
We are great fans of your radio programs. We even name our children after them. I am Paul Temple, and this is my wife, 10 o'clock news.
Oh, well, you have different sexes on this planet.
Actually, we've got 15.
Really?
15 sexes?
It's not as good as it sounds. We have to get all 15 together to have a quorum.
And by the time we've had that, half of them have lost interest. We are a dying race.
I'm not surprised.
How do you manage on your planet?
Well, we,
Oh.
And then we...
Oh.
And after a while...
Oh. Really? That's how we make motor cars.
Any vacancies in the industry?
Come, bipeds. We will take you to our city, set upon a lake of liquid gold, where broad boulevards and towering jade pinnacles offer a vista of paradise.
Sort of latter-day Ponder's End, really, yes. Yeah. Splendid. Now, loose cannon, up lightly. Stay here and guard the ship. Come, Miss Nimble. We go to meet the leader of the planet. Hail, O mighty ruler of Uranus. We of Earth salute you. We wait to hear your message to us.
You'll have a long wait. That's a parking meter.
Here comes our leader now.
Do not forget to undulate your pseudopods as a mark of respect.
Yes, I'll do my best. Hail! Hail, O mighty ruler.
Hello. You may kiss my mandible if you wish.
That's not the ruler of Uranus. That's Max Harris, a great banana-fingered buffoon. If he's the ruler, who's playing the piano?
I, Douglas Smith, play the piano.
He's up again, always pushing himself.
Thank you. In the interest of verisimilitude, I painted my teeth black and white.
Oh, be quiet, Smith.
It's a disgrace.
That's enough, that's enough, that's enough.
I'm fed up with it, always pushing himself.
All right, fine. We have come here to trade.
What?
We have come here to trade.
Oh,
we wish to
trade, yeah.
trade, yes, trade. We wish to exchange tawdry plastic beads for precious metals and gems.
That sounds fair enough.
How many tawdry plastic beads will you be wanting?
No, it's the other way round.
I should cocoa.
For hours we haggled and dickered, but finally they agreed to trade with Earth.
Yeah, that's agreed. Then you give us diamonds and we will give you all the earth you can carry.
Done. Oh, at least I think I have been.
Captain, I've been silent too long. A great deal too long, in my opinion. I don't trust these creatures. Great bug-eyed monsters.
Nonsense, Miss Nimble. Remember what I said to you in the spaceship?
I've never seen anything like them.
No, I mean after that. About friendship between the planets, mutual trust. Now come, offer them your hand.
Oh, all right. There.
Thank you very much. Pass the mustard.
I could see it was time to act, so I took a quick drama course and spoke. Unpseudopod that woman. I drew my Mark II neutron disintegrator complete with real caps. Run for it, Miss Nimble. Back to the spaceship. 10 minutes later, we were pounding on the side of the great silver Douglas Smith.
Well, steady on, sir. You know how easily I bruise.
Loose Gannett, Blightley, the Uranians are hostile. Take off at once.
Right.
Shouldn't we have got on board first?
Well, as it happens, we weren't marooned for very long. We received our checks from the BBC and they quickly brought us down to Earth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Rambling Sid Rumpo.
Well, hello, me dearios. The song with which I'm going to tug at your artifacts this week is a tender story of true love and gentle passion with a soupçon of suggestion. It goes after this fashion, lightly but turgidly. In a dingy old bedsitter to the back of Dolly's Hill lived a grunger, Albert Munger, and his daughter, Spotty Lil. Oh, I loved her for her beauty with a passion so divine. Oft admired her through the keyhole, wished that one day she'd be mine. But she loved a used car salesman from the town of Ampton Wick. Spurned my glances, my advances, and it cut me to the quick. So I vowed to end my misery, jump into the foaming rill, rid myself of life's encumbrance, not to mention Spotty Lil. Round me neck I tied a millstone with which the miller's corn was ground. I was lucky, found the tide out, or I well might have been drowned. I no longer pine for lil boys, I have found another mate. All my miseries turn to joy, boys, since I married Spotty Kate. Spotty Kate.
Well, thank you, Rambling Sid. Well, I was going to Cornwall for a few days' rest, and I wanted to take some reading matter with me. You know, there's nothing worse than being in loo with nothing to read. So I popped into a bookshop in the King's Road. It was called Boner Books. Hello, anybody there?
Oh, hello, I'm Julian, and this is my friend Sam.
Oh, hello.
Oh, lovely to see you, Mr. Horne. Come in, troll round.
Are you looking for something between hard covers or something to slip in your pocket?
We have an enormous selection of livres de poches. That is your actual French for posh books. Livres de poches.
Yeah. How about a nice classic? We stock every Omi's edition.
Would you be interested in Spencer's Fairy Queen?
No, he's not interested in mine.
Oh! Me bold!
Well, there's your Wilkie Collins, Pallone in white.
Or how about a nice Moroccan-bound Poe?
That's nice. That is nice.
Including such masterpieces of the macabre as The Telltale Heart Face, Fall of Usher's Laddie, and his masterpiece...
Poe's Raven.
Is he? Never listen to gossip, Ducky.
And then we do all your poetry here. Longo Miss Hiawatha. Comes nice in your quarto, doesn't it?
Look, I'm not too keen on poetry, except Shakespeare, of course.
Oh, we do our own edition of Shakespeare, don't we? Yes. We've rewritten it ourselves in up-to-date Polari. Includes such things as Much Ado About Nanty, All's Boner That Ends Boner, Two Homies of Verona, and As They Like It.
Isn't that as you like it?
Not really, but live and let live, I say. But it has got some of the most beautiful language in your actual English tongue. Do that speech, Jewel. Jewel, that speech, you know the one, 7 Ages of Omi.
Oh.
Do it for him.
Oh, well, I don't remember it all, but I'll give you a paraphrase of it.
He'll give you a paraphrase, Mr. Horne. He'll give you a paraphrase as soon as look at you, he would.
I have to get in the mood.
Yes, he has to. He has to be in the mood before he can do it. He has to feel the muse, don't you, Jewel?
Yes.
You feeling it? Yes, he is.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
he is. Oh, he's feeling it. He's feeling the muse. Oh, look. Now it's lighted on his shoulder.
Oh, I'm
He's
getting it.
yes.
I'm getting it. It's upon me.
It's upon him, Mr. Horne.
What can I usefully add?
He has to get into the part, Mr. Horne. Like all the great actors, he has trouble getting into his part,
Yeah,
don't you, Jewel?
I do.
Oh, it's true. All of them do. Even Sir
Yes.
John Gingold has that trouble. Now, you ready now, Jewel?
Just ready.
He's ready. He's ready. The 7 Ages of Omi.
All the world's a stage, and all the Omis and Palones merely players. They have their exits and their entrances.
That's true, Mr. Horne. We all have our exits and our entrances. Oh, every one of us. Well, I know I do. Yeah. Oh, carry on, Jewel. Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Go on, love.
One Om in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms.
That's lovely. We all mule, Mr. Horne. I've muled in my nurse's arms. I've muled and on her lap, too. Well, there's no stopping an infant, is there? No.
Well, my thoughts were turning more to puking.
Oh! It don't seem to be going down too well, Jewel. No. I'd cut to the soldier bit if I were you. Cut to the soldier.
All right, I'm being the soldier now.
He's being a soldier.
Then a soldier, all butch and full of strange Polari.
Oh, he takes a good soldier. Oh, he does. It's his own military background. Yes. He was in soldiers in skirts, wasn't he?
Yes.
Lovely.
Then the justice.
That's something else he knows about. Look at him now. He's aged up for it. Look at it. You could swear he was 27.
Oh, thanks. Full of wise saws and moral instances. The 6th age shift.
He usually has trouble with that phrase.
Today was no exception.
No.
The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon.
Look, he's shifted into it. There he goes.
Yes. His youthful hose well saved. A world too wide for his shrunk lallies.
Ah. Look at that, Mr. Horne. His lallies seem to shrink before your very eyes, don't they? His lallies seem to shrink.
And his big, manly obsons turns again towards childish treble.
Oh.
Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion.
Of course, they do wonders with tablets now. Now he's coming up with a big flash finish. Yes. Listen, go on, Jewel. Yes.
Second childhood and mere oblivion. Nanty Hampsteads, Nanty Minces, Nanty Ryer, Nanty everything.
A vampire,
Oh, he got you going, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I could see he got you going.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, in the end, I bought their special edition of Shakespeare, and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed the Merry Palones of Windsor. And now I'm reading Hamlet, Queen of Denmark. I don't think Shakespeare will turn in his grave, though. Not if he's got any sense. Cheerio, see you next week.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne, with Kenneth Williams, Hugh Paddick and Betty Marsden. Music by the Max Harris Group. The script was by Barry Tooke, Johnnie Mortimer and Brian Cook, and the programme was produced by John Simmons. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Round the Horne.
And welcome to the show. First, some corrections. In last week's recipe, I should have said half a tin of red peppers. And not half a ton. And I also told you to add enough curry powder to cover a table. Ah, dear, should have been a tablespoon, of course. It's a slip of the tongue that any of you could have made, assuming you've got any tongues left. Well, I hope I've cleared that up. I shall try not to make any more mistakes today, because later in the programme, I shall be giving you this week's cookery tip called Baked Deans on Toast. And finally, a useful household hint sent in by Mrs. Ada Mole Biscuit of Jubilee Buildings, Park Lane, Mayfair. It's a simple way of making the box room, that small box room, look larger, and you just paper it with thinner wallpaper. Now, the only man with an extra mileage ingredient in his midriff bulge, Douglas Smith. Announce the next item, Smith.
Sir, the Round the Horne Forum of the Air.
Oh, yes, the spot where we invite people to phone in and unburden themselves. And here's the first call now. Hello. Sorry, I can't hear you. Would you mind breathing up a bit? Oh, hello, Mr. Gunfuttock.
Hello. I have something which I feel should be brought out into the light of day.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
I wish to complain about the current craze for embossed Victorian door furniture knobs to you.
And you.
Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to protest. I'm hoping. I am hoping to demonstrate with Vanessa Redgrave. Yes, I fancy a demonstration.
Yes, quite so. Are you going to hold it in Trafalgar Square?
That depends on the weather. What I want to know is, can I have your support?
No. You jolly well buy your own. Hello?
Tell me something. Is Kenneth Williams a pseudonym?
Well, not as far as we know. There have been rumours, of course.
You see, Mr. Horne, I used to go to school with a chubby-cheeked little rascal who looked like him. Of course, this was in 1892. Could it be the same man?
Well, I doubt it. Not in 1892, because Kenneth Williams had already left school by then. I'm sorry.
It's a disgrace.
And now, via the radio link, an on-the-spot report from Gerald Monkshabit in Antarctica. And I must apologise in advance for the poor quality of the reception once again.
Hello, this is Gerald Monkshabit speaking to you from the frozen tundra of Antarctica. The latest polar expedition has just in the Weddell Sea. It's so cold here that our have frozen to the packing cases. It's been 4 days now since we put our through the tent flaps. Because outside you simply can't see your in front of your. And with that, I return you to the studio.
Thank you, Gerald Monkshabbit. And now in the studio, all the way from shark-infested beaches of South Kensington, Miss Judy Cooleybar.
Too right, sport. Keep your distance. I got me police whistle ready.
Yes, yes. Well, now, shall we carry on? I'll rephrase that. Shall we continue? Now, what are you working on now?
I'm working in a menswear shop. It's disgusting. One fella come up to me. Yeah. Can I try on a pair of trousers in the window, he says. Well, I wasn't having that. What? Too right. I give him a quick karate chop in the throat. Didn't get any more customers in that day.
Oh, things were slack.
What do you mean by that?
No, it's all right. Nothing.
Now then, listen, Mr. Horne, you'd hardly believe this. I found a bit of cardboard attached to a sweater with obscene printing on it. Large gents, it said, and you all know what that means.
That was just the ticket.
Yeah, maybe just the ticket to you, but I think it's disgusting.
Well, thank you, Judy Cooleybar. And whatever you do, don't let them get you down. Well, I think it was the French historian Pierre Chaminade who said, Le pays tombera et tout le monde sera transfixé par la plume de ma tante. So I'm going to give you a song, I think, which has been allocated to me for some obscure reason. With Max Harris at the piano. We'll have a bash, Max. Here we go. Of a marvellous hair raiser, Thatcher, I'll sing.
Bravo!
'Twill grow hair upon any and everything.
Everything?
Well, more or less. If your hearthrug's worn out, put some Thatcher on quick. In the morn, 'twill be covered with hair a foot thick.
Nice.
Dropped on wood, 'twill make brushes. Put some on your nut.
You what?
Nut. Though it's bald in 5 minutes, you'll want your hair cut.
Say that again.
So hairless bound to raise your glass in praise that Thatcher came to pass. Oh, Thatcher, rejoice ye bold and weary men, you'll soon be regular hairy men. Sing for joy, let your voices go, sprinkle some on your cranium, Thatcher, what-ho. Dropped on string, 'twill make boas for ladies to wear.
Yes, comes lovely with your boas.
One drop grows a settee on an old Windsor chair.
Oh, fancy.
A hair mattress will make of a sheet, so 'tis said.
You make your bed, you lie on it.
All right. It won't wash clothes and it ain't nice to spread on your bread.
Can you tell it from butter?
Well, sometimes, yes. Just a drop fell on baby next day on my life. He was shaving himself with an old putty knife.
Yes?
Oh, Thatcher, rejoice ye bold and weary men, you'll soon be regular hairy men. Sing for joy, let your voices go, sprinkle some on your cranium, Thatcher, whoa. Thank you, Ducky.
Nice.
Oh, thank you. And now, movie go wrong. Forward, Smith.
Sir, Pornographic Productions, in association with the official receiver, proudly present Apache Story.
Cancel my reservation for a story.
My name is Sitting Duck. I'm the wise old chief of the Apache Nation. When the herds of buffalo were here, the land was covered with plenty, but since they've gone, there's, Since they've gone, there's hardly any. Food is scarce since the pale faces came. The young men of my tribe are rumbling and their tom-toms can be heard for miles.
I say fight the white man. I shall paint my face and strike terror into their hearts.
You're a hot-haired young Billy Two-Cheeks.
Yes.
I say we should speak softly and seek a negotiated settlement, setting aside such sanguine sentiments.
Here, he speaks with forked tongue.
No. Carry on, rain in the face.
As you say, I say we must all work to extinguish the fires of war.
You're doing pretty well on your own, aren't you? Well, thank you, gentlemen. I think that concludes the annual general powwow. I rose and went to look for my daughter, little sage brush flower which grows beside the sparkling waters, or, as I call her for short, Gladys.
Daddy will be looking for me, Billy Two-Cheeks, but I don't care. No, I don't care. I'm content to sit here and watch you. What are you doing?
I am hunting for the water otter.
You mean the kettle?
Yes. Oh, here it is. Let's have a nice cup of tea.
Oh, you have strange ways, Billy. You are different from other braves. Is it true that you are one of them? A pale face?
Yes, it's true. This tribe abducted me from a blazing log cabin when I was a baby. My parents had escaped. I was brought up as an Apache. I am an Apache. Well, that's enough plot. Let's get on with the laugh. I intend to attack the fort with a small band behind me.
Who?
The Max Harris group. They frighten the life out of anybody. Little do the pale faces in the fort know what is in store for them.
The scene shifts to Fort Smith. Played with impeccable timing by you-know-who. I'm girt by rough-hewn logs and watchful eyes scan the plains through my aperture. In my time, I've beaten off many attacks. I'm known as the biggest fort in the business.
No comment. In his quarters, General Ironsides Cuspidor is speaking.
I tell you, Lieutenant, there's only one language these Indians understand. Brute force.
It's all right, sir. I speak it fluently. Tell me, sir, why do you hate the Apaches so?
Well, the reason goes back 20 years, Lieutenant. I was in a log cabin when the wild Apaches attacked and set it on fire. I had a baby, Lieutenant.
Well, fear attacks a man in different ways.
An Apache Indian kidnapped that baby. You know, I can still remember the golden ringlets and the little chubby cheeks. Baby was quite pretty, too. Well, what's that noise?
We're being attacked by a gramophone record.
You're right. It's Indians. Close the gates. Man the ramparts. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
They're attacking with their eyes shut, sir.
Cunning devils. By George, just look at those Apaches. Wave after wave after wave.
It's no use, sir. I'm going to wave back.
All that day, the attack continued. The lieutenant's wife was struck by a tomahawk.
Oh, there's a nice tomahawk.
But finally, Billy Two-Cheeks decided he'd had enough.
I've acted bravely long enough. I'm going back to camp.
And it suits you better. Meanwhile, back at the Indian encampment, the elders of the tribe were performing a ritual to bring rain.
And now Geronimo runs up, reaches his mark, and bows. And the laughing deer cuts him to square leg.
It never fails. It was then I noticed that our camp seemed strangely deserted. There was not a young brave in sight, only us old timids.
Father, I can hide it no longer.
No?
Billy Two Cheeks has gone to attack the fort. He swore he would slaughter the women and carry off the men. Or possibly I'm mixed up.
Yes, or possibly he is.
I have done it, oh Chief. I've fought my first battle. I've earned the feather of a brave and an extra 2 feet of carpet in my wigwam.
Oh, silly Billy. I wanted peace and you've disobeyed my orders. You're different from us. Gather your belongings and go.
3 paleface scalps, 2 Navajo scalps, 1 bottle of scalp tonic, 4 pairs of moccasins, 1 pair of realisins.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about your Indian clubs?
I should cancel my membership.
And now I go!
In the months that followed, Billy Two Cheeks showed his defiance of the palefaces. He stood outside the fort and threw stones at it. Then he got a little bolder and threw that. And as Chief Sitting Duck, I decided it was time to have a powwow with the pale-faced general. I went to Fort Smith. It was midnight and the fort was asleep. Oh, wake up, Smith. Open your southeast entrance. I want to see the general.
I'm glad you came, Chief. We must stop these renegade Indians. The big white father speaks of peace, of our 2 peoples living in harmony. Has he not given you a load of wampum?
Yes, he has. Yes, but I'm powerless. All my braves have gone to follow Billy Two Cheeks.
I shall hunt him down. We have the finest scout in the territory. A man who invented the famous knife, which is named after him.
You mean Jim Bread?
Exactly. Lieutenant! Get the men together.
The cavalry troop rode out of the fort singing an army song. I accompanied them on my palomino. It was a little out of tune, but they didn't seem to mind. Perhaps I could prevent bloodshed, and anyway, I wanted to see this Jim Bread in action.
Yep. The Indians are that-a-way, General. I can tell by this here bent blade of grass, and this tiny scratch on the bark of the trees, and this misplaced pebble, and this big neon sign that says, "To the Indians."
How far ahead are they, Jim?
Not very far. Nope. Not very far. This is still warm.
What is?
This Indian leg I'm feeling.
That's mine, you fool.
Oh! Sorry, wait. Look up there. Smoke signals. Can you read them, Chief?
Of course, yes. Puff, 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 puff. Apostrophe, puff, puff, puff. Exclamation, puff.
Well, what does it say?
Help, my blanket's caught fire. We continued cautiously along the trail. Suddenly an arrow, cleverly portrayed by Douglas Smith, whistled by my ear. I said arrow, Smith, not Eaton.
Oh, sorry.
We had caught the renegades unawares. They fought back.
Scalp 'em! Scalp 'em! Don't bother with Sitting Duck. Nature's beating us to it. Get the others!
It was a short, sharp battle. It had to be. We were near the end of the sketch.
All right, I surrender.
Good! Ceasefire, men! So you're Billy Two Cheeks? Yeah. Say, you don't look like an Indian.
Well, he isn't really. He's different from us. We found him 20 years ago in a blazing log cabin.
20 years? That's when I had my baby stolen from a blazing log cabin. Tell me, Billy Two Cheeks, have you got a strawberry birthmark on your left deltoid?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I have. That means you're my daddy.
And you're my little baby, Priscilla.
Priscilla! I said all along he was different from us. So ends this week's production. Next week we will show something that filled every seat in a West End cinema. It's 100-weight of horsehair stuffing. All of which doesn't bring us to Rambling Sid Romper, but he's here just the same. Rambling Sid.
Thank you very much indeed. Very nice introduction. I must say. Hello, me dearios. Fain would I glossop among the dewy hedgerows, but I've desisted as it tends to rust the artifacts.
Yeah. Now, what air are you going to try our patience with this week?
Well, 'tis a gladsome ditty which people sing in the Lanarkshire inns, providing there's a licence for singing and wordling, and it goes after this fashion cheerfully, but limply.
Some folk like to grunge, some folks do, some folks do, some folks nurk their sponge, but that's not me or you. Green are the nurdles on my groat that squeak from 12 till 2, and my spung grows cold, and my nadgers are turning blue. Some folks mong their spodes.
Some folks do, some folks do.
Some folks wring their nodes, but that's not me or you. Don't hit your posset with a stick. It tends to make you cough. Take a looming fork and wrench your nadgers off.
Well, thank you, Rambling Sid. Now, elections are cropping up all the time, but one that escaped notice was in my area. The usual parties were represented, Labour, Conservative and Liberal, but there was one party I'd never heard of before. And the slogan on their posters read, "Keep Britain Boner." And I decided to find out more about them, so I popped down to their party headquarters. Hello, anybody there?
Oh, hello, I'm Julian, and this is my friend Sandy.
Oh, hello,
Yes, we are the Universal Party, so called because we're at it right, left and centre. Yes, shake hands with your prospective member. Shake hands. That's him.
That's me, Mr. Horne.
You, Julian?
Yes, I stand behind the working man.
And I stand behind. Yes, he does. It's lovely. It's lovely fellow he is. And I stand behind Jewel. I'm his campaign manager.
Oh. He's an old campaigner, Mr. Horne.
You don't tell no lies.
No. Now, why have you formed your own party?
That's a good question.
Well, we couldn't see eye to eye with the other major parties. We left the Labour Party because we disagreed with the prescription charges.
And we fell out with the Conservatives because blue isn't our colour.
Oh, makes me right washed out.
It makes him look washed out, it does.
Oh.
Yes, we didn't like the colour of their favours, so then we was liberal with our favours for a while. Then we felt personally betrayed by the action of our liberal member.
Oh, what did he do?
I can't bring myself to say it, Mr. Horne. He should I tell him? He went and got married.
Don't carry on, Jewel.
I can't help it.
Jewel, pull yourself together. It's to no avail.
Disaster.
Pull yourself together. What's done is done. Now blow your nose on your rosette.
So then we thought they've all let us down, so it's time for a change.
So we changed?
Yes. We formed our own party.
And what's your policy?
Well, we have a three-pronged manifesto.
We have this. No, we have three distinct prongs it's got.
Yes.
Yeah, show him, Jewel. Get out your manifesto.
Oh, yes. Well, our points are these. 1, double the building programme so there's lattice for all.
Lattice for all!
Lattice for all.
Lovely. Remove the American missiles from our shores.
Oh, yes. Particularly that one, what's it called now? Polari. That
Polari, yes. Our third prong, free crow's feet cream for all.
Yes. Irrespective of race, creed or sex.
There, that's your incentive boner.
And what about old age pension?
Don't you worry, Mr. Ornduck, we'll see you all right.
Oh. Make special provision for the over 60s.
But the smaller sizes won't be left out neither.
I think I can confidently say that I expect a huge poll.
His name's Vladimir, always pops round on the Wednesday evening.
Yes, old friend of Gordon's.
Gordon, yes, Gordon's his friend too. Here, Jewel, got your election address?
Yes, care of the Marine Commando Club.
No, not that you silly prospective member.
Oh, sorry.
Your speech, your Polari, with which you're going to sweep the hustings. Yes. I can't bear an unswept hustings. Now, go on, Jewel, get on your box. Right. Not that one, dear, your soapbox.
Right. I don't like.
Go on, he's shy with crowds, Mr. Horne. Go on, imagine you're in front of a great ignorant rabble.
Shall I?
Be good practice for you when you go on the Simon D show. Now, you heckle him if you want to, Mr. Horne.
Right, thank
you. There,
you.
ready, Jewel? Ready?
Yes.
Mr. Horne, you're about to hear his maiden speech. Go on, love. Go on.
Homies and Polones of this borough.
That's lovely. Oh, lovely.
We are poised at a moment in history. The future could be naff. Or it could be boner. The time has come for a frank and honest varder at our awkward position.
Oh, yes, that's true.
I am questing after this seat. For the good of my fellow homies.
Yeah.
Let us not mince.
Have you taken leave of yourself?
I haven't finished. Let us not mince words.
Oh.
Let us put our best lally forward, and with our eeks shining with hope, stroll together towards the fantabulosa futurette.
Bravo, Jewel! Yes. I'm right behind you. We'll go all the way with Jewel.
Well, if you are, will you drop me at Wimbledon Common? I can get a bus.
And now, let us raise our voices and sing the party song. And clear it through. The party's flag is deep as puce, with fleur-de-lis in pale chartreuse.
Both working home and nouveau riche will find our programme very chic.
We'll do our best for young and old.
Our party line is very bold.
Let's mince together, hand in hand. We'll make Great Britain fairyland.
And he didn't get in. Apparently it wasn't a safe seat. And as the next line has been cut, all that's left for me to say is cheerio, see you next week.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne, with Kenneth Williams, Hugh Paddick, Betty Marsden, and the Max Harris Group. The script was by Barry Cooke, Johnnie Mortimer, and Brian Cooke, and the producer was John Simmons.
2, 3. First I peel off my gloves, then my dress, then my shoes, da 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 da. Then my stockings, one by one. Then this, and this, and these.
Oh, do hurry up, Mrs. Bulstrode. I have other patients waiting to be examined.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Round the Horne.
Hello and welcome to the show. Now, first a news flash. Earlier today, thieves broke into Scotland Yard and stole all the telephones. Now, if anyone has any information regarding this theft, well, they'll just have to keep it to themselves, won't they? Oh, dear. Now, a correction. Last week, I inadvertently congratulated one of our listeners on the girth of a bonny daughter. It should, of course, have been the birth of a bony daughter. I'm sorry. And now, with half the usual wet strength, it's non-drip, one coat, polyurethane, Douglas Smith. Forward, Polly. Oh, sorry.
Sir, it's time for the Round the Horne Forum of the Year, in which listeners ring in to air their views on current topics.
And here's the first call now. Hello. Oh, hello, Mr. Grundfutted.
Hang on a minute, it's all coiled up and knotted.
What is?
This telephone lead. Ah, that's better. I'm ringing to complain to you about the lack of facilities in this country for people who indulge in my particular hobby.
Yeah. Well, I hesitate to ask, but what hobby is that?
PT.
Oh, I see. You mean you're going to physical training?
No, I mean I'm a peeping Tom. You people point the nostril of scorn at us peeping Toms, Mr. Horne, but it's not right. You should try to see things our way.
Well, I'd rather not, thank you.
Out in all weathers, peeping for Britain. And we don't get no cooperation from the public. It wouldn't be too much to leave a chair out in the front garden. Perhaps a flask of brandy or a blanket, would it? Some people haven't even got a decent driveway, and they have lights outside. They should be fined.
For lighting without drives, you mean? Oh, I did enjoy that. And you set it up beautifully for me, too. Now, what exactly did you want me to do, Mr. Grundfutted?
Well, for a start, you could have a word with that woman on your show, that Betty Martian. She's just had very thick net curtains put up in her house.
And you take a dim view of it?
Exactly. Here, you won't mention that I called.
Don't worry, she won't get a peep out of me. Hello?
Fred, is that you? Why didn't you turn up at the church yesterday, Fred?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, it's no use disguising your voice, Fred. You promised to marry me. We can't wait much longer, Fred. Dad's beginning to notice that you haven't been round lately.
I think you must have made a mistake.
It was you who made the mistake, Fred. You should have turned up at the church yesterday.
Look, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Goodbye, Mavis. What a ghastly woman. Oh, dear. I'm glad I didn't turn up now. Hello, Horne here.
My mate and I are having an argument. He says yes, and I say no.
Well, you've got quite a problem there. Goodbye. Well, that's all the phone calls we've got time for. It has been pleasant, and speaking of has-beens, brings me reluctantly to Dame Celia Molestrangler and aging juvenile Binky Huckaback.
I can't bear it, Fiona. These last few fleeting moments before I go to the front. Parting is so bittersweet.
I know. I feel for you, Charles.
I know. I feel you feeling for me.
Yes, and I feel that you feel me feeling for you. Oh, Charles, we've so much to remember.
Yes.
Chestnuts roasting by an open fire, a cigarette that bears a lipstick's traces. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Yes, I remember. I recollect, recall, reminisce, recapture, retrace, and yet I forget. It's gone, Fiona.
Not gone.
Yes, lost and gone. Now I must be off.
Charles, must you? You look so handsome in that uniform.
Yes, I thought that too. Goodbye, Fiona. I'm needed at the front.
Goodbye, Charles. Drive carefully. See you at the depot canteen. Fares, please. Pass down the box. Fares, please.
And now to the strains of Waltzing Matilda on a muted didgeridoo. Our visitor from the Antipodes, Miss Judy Cooleybar.
Too right, sport. Here, I've brought me guard dog. You lay a finger on me and he'll have your throat out.
I'll watch it.
What do you mean by that?
No, nothing. It's all right. Now, well, this week I was wondering if you'd tell us something about where you come from.
Yeah, don't you play the innocent with me. I'm not discussing that sort of thing with a member of the opposite gender.
No, I meant Australia.
Oh. Well, you see, my family have been there ever since great-great-grandfather landed at Botany Bay in a convict ship.
A convict ship? What had he done?
Left his glasses at home. The old fool thought it was the Woolwich Ferry. Then, you see, there was his son, Ned Cooleybar, the outlaw. Used to roam around the outback, wearing an iron bucket like a helmet.
Oh, yes, the original pale face. Oh, dear, lighting without drives. I love it.
Well, after him, the family settled down in Chundaboola Springs.
They were squatters, were they?
What do you get,
Nothing
Matt?
at all, no. I was just thinking it must be cut off. No, I'll rephrase that. It must be isolated in Chundaboola Springs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Even the flying doctor doesn't actually land there.
No?
No, he just flies over, dangling a long stethoscope.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Judy Cooleybar. And if you're looking for the outback, well, you know where it is. And now we have a historical moment as members of the studio audience here burst forth in spontaneous song, and a golden flood of melody will envelop the hall, I think. Leading the revels, Miss Betty Marsden and Mr. Hugh Paddock.
Now, all of you here have heard tongue-twisting songs and got in a terrible knot. Yet somehow or other, an audience longs to join in this tongue-twisting rot. So Hugh's got a chorus he's going to sing. You're clever to get it first time. It's all about shoe shops and shutting at 6. I think we can all say that fine. So listen to the chorus and notice the beats. But first of all, empty your mouthful of sweets. You.
Should shoe selling shops shut sharply at 6? Should shoe shops shut sharply at 6? They should or they shouldn't, or simply say some, should surely shut every midday at 1. Some shoe shops shut sharply, some shoe shops shut slow. But before we all get in a fix, to stop all these shoe shops from selling more shoes, we'll sharply shut shoe shops at 6. Now you all know the words. All together now. Shoe Should shoe-selling shops shut sharply at 6? Should shoe shops shut sharply at 6? They should or they shouldn't, or simply some say, should sharply shut sharply at every midday. Some shoe shops shut sharply, some shoe shops shut slow. Before we both get in a fix, to stop all these shoe shops from selling more shoes, we'll sharply shut shoe shops at 6.
And now, movie go wrong. Smith, make the announcement, will you?
This week's film adaptation, we bring you a daring wartime escape story. Hornographic Productions, in association with McWhirter's Quick Frozen Porridge Fingers, proudly present Escape from Stalag Limpwrist.
Pardon?
Well, it's just a little camp, sir.
Oh. The place, a German prisoner of war camp in the dark days of 1942. My name is Coxflute. Colonel Coxflute of the ATS. Well, some sort of mix-up in records, I suppose, but I never bothered to complain. As our story opens, the new German commandant is addressing the POWs.
I'm Heinrich Kartoffelsalat, your new commandant. Expect cooperation from you prisoners, and you can start by returning the old commandant. Dismiss!
The men began to break up grumbling. That's a sort of coarse black bread, actually. While I returned to my hut for a meeting with my brother officers. Well, gentlemen, the situation is this. There are 3,000 men in this camp, cruelly severed from their wives and sweethearts. Now, what are we going to do?
I have a rather bold suggestion.
Yes?
Let's escape. We can leap over the barbed wire.
Well, no use, no use. One chap tried it and failed. Poor old Squeaky. He was always trying to get away.
Yes, he made it in the end there. Wriggled out through the sewer pipe. Got back to England covered in glory.
Since then, all our attempts to escape have failed. I suspect that one of the officers in this hut is portraying our plans to the Germans. I looked round. Was it Lieutenant Jones? Captain Jenkins? Obergruppenführer Fritz von Schwarzkopf? Who could tell? Suddenly the door was kicked open.
Raus, Schweinhund, get up!
Young Raus Schweinhund got up and was led out. We weren't quite sure why he was there in the first place, and they brought in a new prisoner.
Hello. I'm Group Captain Toothloosley. Reggie Toothloosley.
Yeah, don't tell me you're one of the few.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you, Jerry got me with a burst of flak in the rear.
Oh, how painful for you.
I was flying a Mosquito at the time. We're a bit short of planes these days.
I could tell this man had something. Courage, guts. Call it what you will.
Yeah.
By Jove, Reggie, you've got a lot of... Call it what you will. Isn't that the ribbon of the DFC? It's not often you see a man wearing that.
No?
Well, not in his hair.
You're just in time, Reggie. We're planning an escape. It won't be easy. We're locked in this hut all night. The Jerry passes round every 2 hours, and they've got... We've got great big guard dogs with them.
Well, why don't we dig a tunnel?
Good thinking. But how will we remove the dirt?
We'll leave that to the producer. He's good at that.
And so we began the tunnel. We prized up a floorboard and started to dig it.
Man, dig that crazy floorboard.
It was going to be a long job. The routine of the camp went on. Letters from home arrived to break the monotony.
Lads, I've got a letter from the missus.
Dear Stan, I have just given birth to twin boys. I am calling them Angus and Jock. The lodger, Mr. MacTavish, sends his regards. Yours faithfully, Moira.
But Stan, you've been here for over 3 years.
And I write very passionate letters.
I say, chaps, there's a letter for me, too.
Dear Roger, I want you to know you are never far from my thoughts. I cry into my pillow at night and murmur your name. Come home soon. Things are not the same without you.
Well, isn't that nice? Who's it from?
My old drill sergeant at Aldershot. Sentimental old fool.
Meanwhile, the tunnel was progressing. That day, it was Reggie's turn to dig. He'd drawn the short straw. How are you getting on?
Not very well. I bent my short straw. Can't we get a shovel?
I'm afraid not, no.
Oh, go on, sir. I haven't got a part this week. I could play the shovel.
Well, I don't think so, Smith. It really needs somebody younger.
Yes,
Yeah. Tell you what, though, you can play the tunnel. And later in the plot, Mr. Williams and I will go through you. All right?
If it's absolutely necessary, sir. Very well, I'll play the tunnel.
Good.
Already I'm 50 yards long and growing every day. I'm cold and dank and moisture runs down my sides.
Oh, shut up, Smith. Now then, men, the escape is tonight. While Reggie and I'll crawl through that Douglas Smith, you chaps get busy at painting road-up signs and create a diversion. Oh, come on, Reggie. Only another few yards.
Oh, it's so cramped. It's so cramped in this tunnel. I can barely move. I said it was a mistake to bring the Max Harris group down here with us.
Shh. We're through. Shh. We're just outside the wire. Keep your head down. The German guards are everywhere. Did you work out our route on that map?
Yes, we catch the Bakerloo train from West Hampstead to Charing Cross, then change the district
Yes,
line.
now look, actually it's more the first part of our journey I'm worried about. From here to London, it's not going to be easy, but we can sleep in barns.
And have a nap in Hammersmith.
Yeah, I see, yeah. But let's get out of Germany first. We headed for the French border. Our first problem was the Rhine, but fortunately we had our raincoats with us. We hitched a lift, hiding under a load of dried grass. Suddenly, the wagon was stopped by a man in the field grey uniform and Africa Corps hat we had learned to dread.
We're done for. It's a British Railways porter.
No, it's a German. I think he's going to poke about here with his bayonet.
Really?
We mustn't make a sound. Now, grit your teeth.
I
can't.
Well, give them to me. I'll grit them for you. He won't see us in the dried grass. Wait. I think your elbow is sticking out.
He hasn't spotted it, though. He can't tell dried grass from my elbow.
You must be joking. Get out, Englishers. I have my gun pointing at your stomachs. You will raise them above your head.
We climbed out. He marched us to a local billiard hall and placed us under arrest.
Have you any last request before I shoot you?
Yes, please. Miss me.
We looked around the billiard hall. We could never break down the door with our bare hands. Fortunately, there was a queue against the wall, and they all helped us. Once more, we were free. Dawn found us in a haystack near the French border.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Dawn.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. Dawn Higgins of the French Resistance. We will help you get to the coast. You will pretend to be a French peasant couple. Here, you may borrow my plastic Mac as a disguise.
Won't the Germans see through it?
Possibly. But in order to allay suspicion, you will have a baby.
I'll do my best, but...
No, please. No. I will supply the baby.
Well, it's very good of you, but we are in a bit of a hurry.
It will not be a real one.
Oh, darling.
You will hide in my cellar while I make the arrangements.
Excellent. And from there, perhaps I can send a message to London. Dear Vera Lynn, please sing the Nuns' Chorus for Dawn and all in the Resistance hidden in the secret cellar at 27 Rue Fromage. There.
But what about the Gestapo? They listen in.
Oh, let them send their own requests. Just a minute, somebody's coming.
Hello!
Hello.
Hello! This is Jacques. Are you okay?
I am all right, Jacques. Jacques likes the English, except for the footballers. West Bromwich let him down on the pools.
Oh, perfidious Albion! The plan has been changed. Slip on this German uniform.
What a good idea! With those on, they will look just like a couple of panzers.
Saucy cat.
Yes! It is a ruse devised by my sister Charlotte.
We agreed to the Charlotte ruse and followed up with cheese and biscuits. It was to be our last meal in France. That very evening we were dining on British soil. It tasted revolting. But we were glad to be back.
Well, so here we are, back in dear old Blighty. It's a pity about the misunderstanding over these German uniforms.
Yes, Reggie, this English prisoner of war camp is worse than Stalug Limpwrist. Oh well, only one thing for it.
Start digging a tunnel.
So much for this week's film. Next week we'll be showing you the sequel to Gone with the Wind, which we rather daringly called Back with the Bismuth. And now the voice that runs through Tara's halls, or at least the scullery, rambling Sid Rump.
Oh, hello, my dearios. Thank you very much indeed. Well, sing Dilly Down, my Daffy, and Semolina on my cup.
Yes. And how ethnic can you get without being arrested for it? Now, yes, what have you got in your gander bag for us this week?
Art is a paean of praise to the ladies, dolly chicks and old boilers alike. And it goes in this manner, thank you. Grandly, but with a lot of nudging.
Here's to the maiden who woggles her nodes. Here's to the widow's cord wangle. Here's to the lass with extravagant scrodes, set at a curious angle. Let the grunge flow, let yourself go, and quaff up your posset at 9p a throw. Here's to the charmer whose grummets we prize. Here's to the maid who has none, sir. Here's to the girl of extraordinary size who bogles her moolies for fun. Let the grunge flow, let yourself go, and quaff up your posset at 9p a throw. Here's to the maiden who wordles to please, and the maid with magnificent loomers. Here's to the girl with provocative knees, who's subject to all kinds of rumours. Let the grunge flow, let yourself go, and quaff up your posset at 9p a throw.
The other day I was glancing through a pamphlet which was issued by the Amateur Athletic Association. Its title was The 2-Minute Mile, Can Cenopods Make It Possible? When my eye was caught by an advertisement, it read, visit one of the stately latties of England, Bona Abbey. So I thought, well, why not? And the next day I popped down. Now, Bona Abbey turned out to be a prefab on the Hackney Marshes. But I thought, well, I've never seen the aristocracy at home, so I went up to the massive portico and shouted through the letterbox. Hello, anybody there?
Oh, hello, I'm Julian, and this is my friend Sam.
Hello,
Dolly to Valdieri.
Thank you.
Don't be strange. Trolling. Yes, take his half crown, Jewel. Oh, I'll put me guides hat on. Right, now, if you're ready, we can set off on our guided tour of Jewel's family seat.
Jules, I had no idea you were highborn.
No higher than anyone else.
Don't denigrate yourself, Jewel.
No.
Don't denigrate yourself.
Don't like
He's of the blood royal. A queen's blood flows in his veins. He's been on the royal jelly. Bow to that aristocratic eek. Bow to the eek. Look at the nose. Bow to the nose with its hint of bourbon. And the milk stout in the air. Oh, Raya. What a Raya.
I was having a beer rinse.
Beer rinse.
Oh, that explains the dressing gown.
Dressing gown?
Yeah.
That's his official robe. Official robe. See the back emblazoned with the word royal?
Oh, yes, Royal Borough of Tufnell Park Slipper Bar.
Slipper bar,
Yes.
He used to be a masseur there. Masseur he was. He's got magic fingers, he has. What lappers? Lovely.
Oh, magic lappers I've got. It's a gift with me, you know.
Lovely.
I could do things with your lower dorsals that would give you new life.
Yeah.
I would have still been up the slipper baths, but I had this misunderstanding in the steam room with a jockey. No, honest.
No, don't go on, don't go on! Don't go on! Well, I don't know who his friends are. He's like that, Mr. Horne. He'd tell anybody anything. That's his trouble.
Like
He's
that,
too open. He lays himself open.
Do tell him
Then, of course, he gets hurt. He gets hurt. Then, of course, he comes running to me. And I tell him, if you hadn't laid yourself open, you wouldn't get wounded by life's vagaries.
No.
Lays himself open, you see.
Sand is very understanding, yes.
Yeah.
He knows my weak points, but he's still... No, he nevertheless, he's still... Don't you stand shoulder to shoulder with me.
If you can't put out a hand to a friend, what are you on this mortal coil for?
As the bard has it.
Frequently. We digress.
Oh, indeed.
We digress. Mr. Horne, you come to look round Jules' ancestral latte. Now, through there is the robing room where we robe. There's the smoking room where we smoke. And up there is the minstrel's gallery.
Where we mince.
And cast your radiant orbs over to the left. You will observe the portraits of Jules' ancestors, or the family Jules, as they're known.
Yes, this one here with the great spade beard, that's Granny.
No, the fake ogle.
Fake ogle. Hardly notice it. And this one here, this great butch Omi in doublet and hose, with his hand resting lightly on his cutlass.
Note the cutlass.
And note the hand resting lightly.
Yeah.
He, of course, was a pirate. He was known as Henry the Bold.
Yes, and this one next to him with the pomaded wig and the lace jabot.
Oh, that's Cyril, the absolutely outrageous.
Just larger, that Elizabethan drag, Mr. Horne. The ruff, the doublet, the magnificent codpiece. Oh, the sixpenn'orth of chips. Jules' family sprung from his loins.
We did, we sprung from.
Like a scalded cat sprung from.
And it's from him that we get our titular rights.
Titular rights, they've got, And now through here's the royal bed chamber. Over there, the royal bed.
Royal bed?
Yes. Legend has it that many queens have slept in that bed.
Queen Elizabeth I slept there, and Mary Queen of Scots, Anne Boleyn, Anna Cleves, Queen Victoria, they all slept there.
Not all at the same time.
Of course, not just silly days, only one warming pan.
Well, you know, this house seems a little modern for all this to have happened in it.
Well, it belies its age, Mr. Horne. There are a wealth of antiquities. Over there, an oldie-worldy latticey windowy. And over there, an oldie fireplacey with an ingle nookie.
Nice for the nookie.
Yes.
Yeah. And over there, over the fireplace, the family escutcheon, 2 ballet dancers supporting a heraldic lion improper. It looks nice, doesn't it?
And under the crest, there's our family motto.
Ars gratia artis. That's your actual Latin. Loses a little in the translation, but it means roughly as art's in the right place.
Yeah. Well, now you've seen it, what do you think?
Well, it's impressive, but can you make it pay?
Oh, yes, Mr. Horne. So far this season, we've had 6 tourists.
But at £half a crown a time, that doesn't amount to very much.
Ah, yes, it's £half a crown to get in, but it's £7.10 to get out.
Oh. Well, it was quite an experience. Not so much a Luton Whom or a Hackney What, I suppose. And there's a rumour they're going to demolish it and erect a rubbish dump on the site. Well, we mustn't stand in the way of progress. Cheerio. See you next week.
That was Round the Horne, starring Kenneth Horne, with Kenneth Williams, Hugh Paddick and Betty Marsden. The music was supplied by the Max Harris Group, and the script was by Barry Tooke, Johnnie Mortimer and Brian Cooke. Production was by John Simmons.